Students, today we will see the ensemble learning model as a practical part. So what I did the my lecture, the practical part of this one, we can say in two parts. One is to check the performance of the big learner. To check the performance of the big learner, and what is a big learner? That is a big question. So I will tell you. Second part, we will implement the ensemble. So before implementing the ensemble, let me explain what is mean by the big performer or big model, or we can say why this part is required. See, as we know, there are classification model we have seen. First classification model regression we have, not regression, the support vector machine we have seen. Next we have seen the logic regression. Next we have seen the kernel algorithm, and then we have also seen the other point. What is the other classification model? Decentric classifier. So these four classification models we have seen by the practical as well as the theoretical. So what we have been observed, if I'm choosing any one of the these four model as a base model, then what is the role of these things? So what I did, I have implemented all these four models, or four, we can say the four machine learning models, to check the performance of the each and every model. But every model, there is no guarantee each and every model provide the 100% accuracy or 100% model is perfect, we can say, because no model is perfect in this world. So these models are under come into the big learner, and this model also known as the big learner model. From this point we have to start the thing properly. And today's part you will see more interesting, because today we will see the handling of the missing data. And I will ask the question which kind of a data set I must use, then you will be happy to learn the thing properly. So today's we have a more two important part. One is a drop any method, and the next one is a fill any method. And what is the role of these two methods, I will tell you step by step. So let us start the first point right now. So you can see, observe over here the screen. The data set will be handled by the various kind of the classification model: logistic regression, descent classifier, support vector classifier, and kernel classifier in the Python programs library we have seen. And finally we have to predict from the all these things. And what is the meaning of the ensemble? Ensemble means to assemble or to integrate or to make the group of the data items. Data items means to make the group of the our classification model in a group rather than the individually. And that point we have to understand over here. So from this point, what I did right now, I have chosen the first point, that is the performance of the big learner. Big learner means our classification models, what the accuracy they have and what is the error they can have, because nothing is perfect in this world. So no model is perfect in this world, so definitely there's no guarantee every time we can get the 100% accuracy. But when talking about the small amount of data sets, so there are some guarantee. But when we're dealing with the use volume of data sets, so there is no guarantee at that time. So first part we will see, that is a big learner, or we are trying to find the performance of the big learner. So a big learner is a model that may have errors. That is the important point you have to understand. So step by step I will execute all the codes in front of you, then you will happy to see the answers right now in front of you. Now, so what is our first step? Yes, of course. Our first step is to import the important libraries. So here I'm importing the NumPy library. If it's applicable, then we can use, else no issue at that time. So NumPy library I'm using, and for the numerical operation, and second library as we have used many times, that is the pandas libraries. So pandas library will be used for to make the data frame. And what we are doing, because we have the data in form of the CSV format. So our CSV format will be transformed into the data frame. Why? Because our libraries of the Python libraries we have, that will be applicable on the data frame only. So we have to transform our data set or our data information into the data frame. That is only reason, because any operations, any functions will perform on the data frame. After this point, we have to use the four different classifier as we have used many times. So now these classifiers we have seen. What are those classifier? Descent classifier, logistic regression, support vector classifier, and k-neighbors classifier. Is it true? Are you agree with this point? Yes, we have seen or not? Hmm. Tell me. These classifier we have seen, we have already
Yes, sir.
implemented.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's great. So now what we are doing right now, we are trying to read the data. So I have prepared or I have updated something in our existing data. If you remember the height, weight, and t-shirt size based data. So what we have done, I just added the some missing information or null values. So my data will be under come into the missed information or missing information, or we can say this is not data which is not under come into the complete data, and that is known as the incomplete data. And how to resolve such issues, we will see this point right now. So by applying the read underscore CSV method, we have to we have to read our CSV formatted file in which our data is stored in form of the height and weight and a t-shirt size, if you remember that part. Now data set we have used right now. So print a data set, I am printing. Data set is the name of the variable, but if you want to update, then you can update like this one. If you want to update like this one as a DS, so you can write like this one. So I can write like this one. Yes. So we have updated the data set by putting the incomplete missing information, that those are represented by the not a number or null values. Let me execute this code in front of you, then you will able to see. Yes, tell me right now, are you able to see this data set in which NaN is containing? See this one.
Yes, yes, sir.
So what is the full form of the NaN? Not a number. Please keep in mind, or not a number or not a defined. We have the two meaning, not a defined or not a number. So here, how many rows we have? You can see 0 to 28. So total number of the information we have, total number of rows we have the 29. But in these 29 records, 29 rows, what we have? We have the missed data, because look at the 17th sequence number, 17th row, or index rows index number 17, 163. We have a height, but number, the weight and the t-shirt size is not defined. So this data is enter come into the missing information. So what I am using right now, you can use the size of the data. You can know the size of the data by applying the following syntax. So what is the syntax? By applying the, or by adding the shape method or shape variable by which we can do. So what is the name of the our variable? That is ds. So ds dot shape, if I'm doing, so what it will display? It will display the 29 rows and 3 columns. What are the 3 columns? Height, weight, and t-shirt size. Is it visible to all and it is clear to all right now? Just tell me, it is visible and it is clear to all right now how we are getting all the things?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you have been observed, we have a missing data. So as per the definite process of the machine learning process, what is our first process? Prepare the data set. So far we have used a complete data set, but unfortunately we are getting the data in which we can have the incomplete information. Then how to resolve such issues? Because real life data, if you're working on the real life data, so there are no guarantee, there are and there is a no guarantee we can have the complete data set. So what happened? So we have to resolve such issues. That means we have to follow the preparing data set, or we can say analyze the data set. So in this data set, we have incomplete or missing information, and we need to remove those rows or columns which are having the not a number. So the columns cannot be removed, but rows we can remove, because we are not able to identify if the height is given, but weight and t-shirt size is not given. So how to identify what is the weight and what is the these things? So we can use right now from the Python libraries drop any method. Drop any, drop the not a number or null values in your table or in your data set. So what I'm using, I'm just creating another data set, that is another variable, that is a ds1. This dsn1 is a new variable which keeps the updated information after removing the not a number or null values rows, null values based rows. So if I'm applying this function to the my data set, that is a ds1, ds not ds1, ds1 is a new variable which will keep the updated information or after the dropped not a number values. So ds1 equal to ds dot drop na, and I'm printing the dsa. So dsn is a complete data set which are not having any not a number values. Let me show the my proof. Okay, are you able to see this screen? Are you able to see this data set which is coming from the after removing the not a number values? Are you able to see?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And are you observing this point after the 16th row as index value, 17, 18, 20th is not coming. Even 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th is not coming. Why? Because those rows contain the null values. You can see, just look at this one. In the 17th, we have a not a number in a height and t-shirt size. Okay. And not a number we have in the t-shirt size in the 18th and 19th we have a not a number in height and t-shirt size. And 20th we can have we don't have the weight. So why? Because its value are not defined. So it is remove the such rows. So now we got this information. Now clear? So 0 to 28 are just representing sequence number. It does not represent the total 29. So what is the total 29 we have? So total number of the rows in the correct data set we have. So let us understand this thing by applying the our shape method. We can see. So ds1 dot shape, just execute this code and see. So now we are having the total 18. Now we have total 18 rows. And the 29, 11 rows are following not. Just tell me right now. It is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So a student asked me a question in the previous slot. Student asked me a question, sir. If we have suppose we have the 1,000 record, and in 1,000 data, suppose 500 data will contain the not a number, and we are having those data. So we are losing our information. But we should not lose our information. So what is another method by which we can do? So there is another method. The null values we can fill by the different way. So in the Python programming, it is a good way. We have a ffill. Ffill is a forward fill method. So there are two ways to make the data set as a complete data set, as a complete data set. So what is the first option? The first option we have the to remove the not a number or null value. So ds1 we have used. Or we can replace the null values, or we can replace the not a number values by another values. This another values we have to use the average part. We can fill the average value, mean value, or we can fill the simple method by which it will be filled. So I'm making the another variable that is the ds2. ds2 will be updated part of the our ds, that is a data set variable which keeps the null value. So I'm not removing the null values, I'm updating the its values. So I'm filling such null values by forward fill method. So what it will do, let me explain first, then I will tell you the idea what it will do. Forward fill method what will do, look at this point right now. Look at 19th. So what it will do, in the 19th row you can see as per the 19th index row you can see. So what will do the forward method? Fill forward method will fill the null values from its previous values. So what is the previous value of its height? 165. So not a number will be filled by the 165. Same thing it will be happen. So L is coming over here. So what it will do? L will be filled by the 17th t-shirt size. Then again this one. So what is the previous value? L. So it will be filled by the 17th. So same thing, you can go to the 20th index value. So in the 20th index value, 64 is the previous values of the weight. So it will be filled by the 64. That is the beauty of the forward fill method. So what is the method I can do? This method we have a f fill na. So ds2, I'm taking another variable. I'm making, or I'm applying fill in a method on my data set, that is ds, and which method I have to fill. So I'm passing a parameter that is ffill. Ffill stands for the forward fill. So meaning that value not a number will be updated by or replaced by its previous or upper values. So I'm printing the ds2. So let me show what it will print. Now you can see now we have a 0 to 29, 28. It means 29th total number of the data we have. But you can see, observe over here, we don't have any null values. Are you able to see null values over here? Tell me right now.
No, sir.
So this is what this is filled by the fill method, or rather than the fill method, you can fill the mean value, you can fill the average value, or whatever the method you want to use, and that is then come into the data analysis of the data in the Python programming. But that is a different topic or different things. But here I have taken this point right now to clarify this point. A student can ask the question, or you must have this question, sir, every time we are using the complete data set, suppose we are using incomplete data set, then how to resolve such issues? So these are the two methods by which you can make your data set as incomplete to complete data set. So here, let me show the my proof what would be the size of the ds1 and ds2. So ds1 size we have the 18. So 11 rows are removed because of the having the null values. So let me show the my proof what is the size of the ds2. So let me show. Now we have the size 29. It means in this ds2 we don't have any null values. We have the complete data set. That is only point. So from this point, tell me right now which data set I must use, ds1 or ds2. ds2 we have the 29, and ds1 we have the 18 rows. So tell me which data set I must use for the my next computation or next operations. Here, tell me.
DS2, sir.
Okay, why I must choose the ds2? Can you tell me right now?
So because it contains more number of samples as compared to DS1.
Super, that's a great answer I got you from my side, because it has the it has the good volume of data rather than the less data. Because if you're performing many operation or any operation on the less data, so definitely we cannot judge the thing properly. This is a great answer. So I'm choosing the ds2 over here. So what is the columns of the data set we have? So ds2 is just a copy of the our entire data set by filling the null values by its upper values. So let me show the my number of the columns, how many columns we have. So by applying the column variable or column methods, we can check the how many columns we have or attributes. So let me execute. Yeah. So here I'm getting the height in centimeter. This is one attribute. Weight in the case is the second attribute, and t-shirt size is the third attribute, and that is the point. So as per the student's demand, I'm choosing the ds2 over here rather than the ds1. So x and y, I have to make the two variables. Why I am making? Because if every time we have done this activity to get the data in two parts. One is the predictive variables, or we can say target variables, or independent variable or dependent variable. So as we know, independent variable means we're talking about the height and weight. So height and weight will come enter into the x, and dependent variable would be definitely undoubtedly t-shirt size. So by choosing the ILOC method, we can copy the all the values of height and weight into the x, and by value will be t-shirt size value will be copy or transform into the y variable. So ds2.iloc stand for the index location, please keep in mind. So I'm passing the index location 0 and 1. 0 index belong to the, what is the 0th index column we have value, that is the height, and 1 index column value we have the weight, and 2 index column belong to we have the t-shirt size. So x will representing the height and weight, and y will represent the t-shirt size. So I'm printing all these things in front of you, then you will be able to see. So print x means it is represented by the two-dimension array, so it is representing by the height and weight only over here. and by will representing by the m and l also values. Now it is clear to all right now. So we have chosen the DS2 data set. Now it is clear. Till
Yes,
now,
sir.
any doubt? Till now, any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, that's great. But you have been observed the many things in the previous example or previous parts we have discussed. If we need to check the classification properly, so we have the two type of the classification data, that is M and L, that is a medium size and large size. But what we have been observed here, we have the non-integer data value. So we have to transform this non-integer data value into the integer data value. So what is the method we have by which we can do? Label encoder class. So you can observe over here, as we know that our t-shirt size values are in form of the non-integer. So if we need to perform some mathematical calculation or operation as our required, if we need to do, so we have to transform these non-integer values into the integer value, and this will be done by the our encoder class, and that is known as the label encoder class. So what we have a label encoder class under the pre-processing libraries and under the sklearn package. So by applying the sklearn package and pre-processing library, we have to use label encoder class. So here I'm importing the label encoder class from the pre-processing library and under the sklearn package. So I need to make an object of the label encoder. Why? Because with the help of the such object, I can access the other method that is implied in the pre-processing libraries. So what I'm doing right now, I'm taking the temporary variable, that is by temporary variable. Why? Because I do not want to any update in my actual value, that is MNL we have. So I'm making the temporary variable by temp. Suppose I'm taking the by temporary variable. So now I'm copying the all the values of the by which contained by the m and l, that is a non-integer value, into the by temp. So I'm changing my variable name by temp over here. Now this now by temp variable is containing the information m and l. So I will perform the any operation on the by temp to check whether it is performing or not. So let me check. This part we have already discussed, but this is I'm updating once again. So by using the LE object of the label encoder class, I'm just updating its MNN value into the form of the form of the 01. So this will be done by the our simple method, that is a fit transformator under it come into the label encoder class. So here the by temporary which is containing a M and L will pass to the fit transform method. So fit transform method will transform the M and L value into the 01 format. So now here you can see I'm printing the Y that is containing the actual values of the M and L values, and by new will be the by temp. By temp is temporary variable which contain the 01 formatted values. So 1 means M and 0 means L. Now let me show the my proof after executing this code. Yes, now it is perfectly coming the our answer. So Y is representing this point right now. So I can write over here for your more better mind. Actual values and this is the, we can say, transformed values. Now it is clear to right now how we have done. It is clear to all right now.
Yes, sir.
This part we have already discussed in the previous class, but this is required over here. Now we have to transform our MNL value to the 10. So we have done. So now what I will do, I will copy the all the values of the Y temporary into the Y. So this MNL value will be replaced by You can directly use the by rather than the choosing the by temp, but by temp we have taken only for understanding purpose only. So by temp, if you do not want to use, you can no, you are not required to use. But I have taken over here for understanding purpose. It is really happening with the transformation is really happening, but it is really happening, so no issue. At a time you can directly use the by. So now I'm copying all the values, or I'm replacing all the values of the NML into the 0 1 form into the by as well. So I'm just copying the by time into the y. So I'm printing the y, which contain the transformed values. Okay, so after this point, we have to perform very important activities. Before building the models, what you have to do? You have to you have to split your data set into two parts. One is the testing data and training data. Okay, so by applying the train underscore test split method, we have to transform, or we have to split our data set into two parts for the training data set and testing data set. So before splitting, just let me know right now what is the size of the testing data set I must have. So could you tell me the size of the testing data right now, so I can update the thing?
So what is the size of whole data set?
uh,
29.
29, because we have used the DS2, which does not contain any null values. So could you tell me the size of the training testing data?
So 0.25 equals to 8
0.25,
samples. Yeah, sir, 0.25.
25%. Okay. So as per the student demand, I am just updating my testing size, that is 0.25. So I am executing this code. And now, what is the size of the testing? So we can check the size of testing by the xtrain or xtest, or we can use with the towards the by. We can also do. So we can pass the by train or by test. So 21 is we are getting the size of the training, and 8 is the size of the testing data. 2 is coming x trend representing the x values, x parameter, height and weight. Okay, and y will represent only the t-shirt size. So that's why we have a one column. So it is just showing only the 21 comma 1, but 1 is not displaying over here, and it will not show because it is assumed at least one column will be available. So this is the size. So testing size we have 8, and training size we have the 21, and testing size we have 8. Now after this point, it's time to build our model. So we have already imported all these libraries for the decentralized classifier, logic regression, and support vector machine, and KNN algorithm. So I'm just making the first variable name, that is the model 1. This model 1, model 2, model 3, model 4 are the name of the variable that representing the objects of the respectively class. So logic regression I'm choosing over here. So I'm creating the logic regression based model. So model 1 is the object of the logic regression. Model 2 is the object of the decentralized classifier, and I'm defining the one parameter over here, that is maximum depth. It should be 5 only. But if you want to update, then you can update. Can you tell me right now what is the maximum depth I must have? Tell me right now. Just what is the maximum depth I must have? But tell me right now. Any value if you want to update?
No, sorry. 5 is no need to update, sir. 5
Okay,
is
okay, good.
enough.
Okay, and model 3, I'm just using the SBC, that is a support vector classifier. So I'm not passing any parameter over here. Just what is the default parameter, it will assume. In the KNN nearest in the KNN algorithm, so K neighbor classifier, I'm just passing the neighbor, that is the same. But if you want to update, then you can update. Tell me right now any updation.
No, no, sir. 7 is.
Oh, Okay, 7, I'm just keeping as it is. And equivalent distance is we have to pass over here to define that is our equivalent distance is the method by which we can calculate the distance. So model 1, model 2, model 3, model 4 are our objective. So do not think about this statement 21 would be the total nodes in the descent tree. So maximum depth equal to the depth of the tree based on the descent node. So 21 we can say, but here what we are getting, here we are getting the our total how many nodes, 21. So 21 we are getting over here. So because our we will build our model towards the training data set. So 21 will be the total node in the descent tree for its building the model. So maximum depth we can it will be calculated by the depth of the tree based on the 21 nodes. So now I'm fitting this model towards all the data, all the classes. Now it is clear. So now it's time to fit our model towards the training data. So xtrain and bytrain are the parameter I have to pass. So what is the object name of the our logic simulation? That is model 1. So I'm fitting this model towards the xtrain and bytrain. So model 1 I have to use as a variable for the logic regression. So I'm fitting this model. Now my logic regression is built. Now it is clear right now.
Yes,
Just
sir.
tell me. Okay, so I can print this method. Print logistic regression model. Yes. Now let me execute once more. Okay. Now a model 2 is belong to descent classifier. So I can write descent tree classifier. Model is built. So let me execute this code. Descent classifier is built. Now next model is support vector machine. So I can write now in shortened way I can write SVM model is built. So SVM model is built. Let me execute. So I'm getting this message SVM model is built. Now this is the point why I'm passing the X and Y rather than the X trend by trend in the Canon. Can anyone tell me right now? Can anyone tell me right now why I'm not passing the X trend by trend?
Because the KNN model is trained on the whole data set.
Yes, super. As per the theory portion, as a numerical portion, as our practical part, we have to keep in mind all these things. What is the pros of the Kinner algorithm? The entire data set will be used as a training data set to build your model. Okay, so that is the point you have to keep in mind. So I'm not passing X trend by trend. I'm passing the X and Y whole data set over here to build my model. So that is the point you have to keep in mind. So I'm executing this code over here. Now KNN model is built. So now we are predicting using the testing data set. Okay, so what is the testing data set? We have testing data set of X test and Y test. So by passing the X test, you can determine the this one prediction. Okay, but in the Canon, you can also pass the X test if you want to pass X test. So you can predict your model by the testing data set, but if you want to pass X, then it will be suggested better idea rather than passing the testing. Because in testing data set, it will not be used in the training. So I have to pass the entire data set to predict my model. So by prediction 1, by prediction 2, by prediction 3, by prediction 4 are the 4 different variables which are used to predict our values, which are coming from the our part. So by prediction will be the values. So by prediction 2, by prediction 3, by prediction 4, I'm taking over here. So I'm predicting my values. What is the prediction? If I'm passing test parameters, so what would be my prediction? So let me show my proof. Now this code is executed perfectly. And next time I'm predicting the testing size. Please keep in mind I'm passing the testing size as a tested values. But what is our predicted values? You can get it. So you can see observe here by just printing the y prediction, by prediction 2, by prediction 3, by prediction 4 values. So you can see, but Kenen is not displaying the limited amount of data or the testing. Why? Because it will work with the entire data set. So no testing is required over here. But if you want to pass, if you want to check your Kenen model by the X test, then you can also test. But in the testing data is not applicable in the our Kenen model. So we will not pass the X test. But if you want to pass, then you can pass, your model will give you some result. You will not give, you will not have any kind of the error. But that is the beauty of the Kenen algorithm. So I'm going through this point right now to check the everything over here. So now this is the point. Now it is clear to all right now why I'm passing the entire variable in the Kenen algorithm. It is clear to all right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's great. For Kenen, actually, I need to do print the prediction and then I need to print the entire. Okay. Print actual values of y. So this would be the little bit better answer. So let me show. Yeah, this is the point. So you can see the differences between the actual values of y and predicted values of the Kenen algorithm. So this will be coming from the predict method. So you can see. So look at the second last values. In the actual value, we have a 0, and but in the predicted values in the Kenen, we are getting the 1. So this is the point you have to keep in mind. It means there are some differences we have. Now, it's time to check the accuracy of our 4 models. So see, here we are working on our first part to check our accuracy of the model. So we need to determine the performance of the big learner. So this is the time we are looking at the first part only. So we are confusion. We have to use, or we are just let me write. We have to use confusion matrix to measure the performance model. So here we have a confusion matrix right now. So by applying the actual values and predicted values, we can get the confusion matrix point right now. But it's an optional parameter, but for printing purpose, I'm passing over here. So yeah, actual parameter in the Kenen, I have to pass the y. So CM logistic regression, CM regression tree, CM support vector classes, CM Kenen are the different variable names which are used to display the confusion matrix to know the true positive, true negative, false positive, false negative values only. Okay, this is the point we are getting. So this is our confusion matrix we are getting. So, but it is optional for printing purpose, or it is optional to display over here. But for understanding purpose, I'm just taking only here. So when we need to calculate the accuracy, the model under the classifications we have over here. So always use the testing data set to get the result. But in the Kenen, we have a little bit different. So accuracy score will be our class by which we can check the accuracy. So logistic accuracy is the name of the variable, DT accuracy is the name of the variable, SMU accuracy is the name of the variable, and Kenen accuracy is the name of the variable. So just pass its respective values, and we can check the performance of the model in terms of the accuracy. Okay. So this is the point you have to keep in mind. So in the Kenen, I'm passing the actual parameter only. Okay. So accuracy of the logic regression, we can get it, and decision tree accuracy, we can get it. Support vector classification model, we can get it, and Kenen model accuracy, we can get it by applying the accuracy score. Let me execute this code. Now you can see, observe over here. Logistic regression model, we are getting the accuracy 62.5%, and accuracy of the decision tree model, we are getting the 87.5%, and support vector machine model, we are getting the accuracy 62.5%, and Kenen model, I'm getting the accuracy 82.75%. Now it is clear to all the people how we are getting all the things. Just tell me.
Yes, sir.
See what we are observing over here. What is the observation we have? We have an observation. You can see, observe over here. We are not getting the 100% accuracy. It means no model is perfect. If no model is perfect, it means there are some error in the such model. So these models are under come into the or under categorized into the weak learner model. So the model which does have the accuracy score less than the 100%, it means the model contains some errors. And the reason this is the reason by which it is known as the weak learner model. Now it is clear to all right now. We have used the 4 different models, 4 classification model in a program. So this was our first part to check the performance of the weak learner. So now we have seen. Okay, tell me right now, it is clear?
So can you please show the F1 score of each model? If you don't mind.
F1, yeah. So what I have to do? I have to
Same
use the
like
class.
prices plus we have F1 score.
So rather than the doing things, so just I need to add one more cell over here. Okay. So you're talking about the classification report, am I right?
Yes, sir. F1
Okay.
score.
Okay, so what I'm doing right now, I'm just in the previous part we have seen. So I'm taking the copy the code only. I'm just not need to write over here in the SVM we have determined. So as it is code, I will copy over here and we will see what is the classifications report by which we can get it. So matrix classification report by test by prediction 1. So 1 for the logic regression. So this would be logic regression, and prediction 2 is for the descent tree classifier. Just let me check 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So this is for the descent tree classifier. Descent tree classifier. And this tree would be for the SVM, and this 4 will be, but here I have to pass one more parameter. Yeah, I'm using the by rather than this one. So here I need to pass over here. This is a Canon. Let me show. The F1 score. This first part is showing the logic for the logic regression. Second part is showing the F1 score of the descent tree classifier. This is coming classification report for the support vector machine, and this is the next classification report for the our last classifier, that is the Kiran. Now it is visible to all right now.
Yes, sir.
So you can use different way to print your idea, different print your measurement factor, whatever you want to use. Now come to the point. So after understanding this point, now we have the ensemble learning model, that is a part 2. So what we have been observed over here, no model is perfect in this world, because any model in this world we have some error if we are really working with the real kind of the data set. So that is only meaning. So what is the ensemble learning? So far we have implemented the first part to know what is the performance of the big learner. So ensemble learning is saying to us in different way. In the ensemble learning, just let me inform you all once again before moving to the next part. In the ensemble learning, what we are doing, what are the base models we have used? We have used the 4 base model. One is a logic regression and descent tree classifier and support vector machine. And next we have used the Kernel. Logic tree regression, descent tree classifier, support vector classifier, and Kernel we have used as our base model. So if we need to integrate, so please keep in mind this is important one. If we need to integrate all these models, then we can integrate. So for increasing the complexity and for performing the proper ensembling, you have been noting down the important point. While applying the any ensemble learning model, then you must have the data set. And data set M1 will use a different subset, M2 will use a different subset, M3 will use a different subset, and M3 will use a different subset. So here we will not use the train data or testing data, but what I will do here, I will use the first base model, that is the logic regression. So then I will prepare the its sub models, that is the M1, M2, M3. So I have to prepare the 4 or 5 basic sub models that follow the linear that follow the logic regression, and passing the different parameter if it is possible, or we can pass the same parameter, it doesn't mean. So what I'm doing, I'm using the 4 basic models, that is the logic regression, eccentric classifier, support vector machine, and KNN. And I'm making it sub model. So 5 sub models of each and every base model I have to prepare. So total would be the 4 into 20, 4 into 5, so it would be the 20 big learner model. So in the ensemble modeling, what I'm doing, I'm just applying the 4 basic models, and 5 times I have to use by passing the different parameter. It is optional, but if you want to pass, then you can pass. And big learner, total number of the big learner would be the 5 into 4. So we have the 4 into 5, we have the 20. So the finally we can have to apply the maximum voting classifier methods. If you remember the stacking method in the ensemble learning, we have seen the 3 different techniques. Stacking, in which we have the maximum voting. Next we have seen the sequential parallel ensemble modeling, in which we have the add a boost algorithm. Next we have the bagging also known as the parallel sequential parallel ensemble learning. And then this is come into the, or we have used the random forest in such part. So here I will use only the maximum voting. Add a boost and random forest I will implement separately, but here I have to use the maximum voting to check the my predictions from the our given or defined the big learner. So maximum voting I will use to where the class which has been predicted mostly by the big learner will be the final class prediction of the ensemble model. So what I have to use, I have to integrate, please keep in mind, I have to integrate all the sub models from the logistics, some models from the decentralized classifier, some models from the support vector machine, and some models from the KNN. I will integrate in a list in a group, and this is known as the ensembling I am doing. So I'm doing the ensembling. So I will define the ensemble learning model properly, or I will aggregate all 4 models along with its submodels. It means I'm doing the ensembling. So for doing this thing, I have to prepare a temporary variable. This temporary variable is known as the estimator. So estimator is the name of the variable. Whatever you want to take, you can take. So this estimator will collect or will use the integration or the combination of the all the models. So whenever I'm defining any model, that will be the part of the such estimator. So estimator is a variable, and it contains or append all the models details in a list. So first model I'm defining the logistic regression. So I'm defining the logistic regression. We have already defined the class. So model 11 to model 15, model 11 to model 15 will be the objects of the logistic regression, and those objects are integrated into the estimator by applying the append method, because estimator itself is a list kind of a data type. So all the objects will be appended in a group. So I'm just appending. So logic regression model 1 I prepared, logic regression model 2 is created, and so model 11 to model 12, model 13, model 14, 15 are prepared and created. And these all 4-5 models objects, in terms of the objects, are appended into the estimator. And then I am printing the at the last of the value appender estimator, what is the appended part. Same this process I will apply for the dysentery, and same process I will apply for the support vector classifier, and same I will apply this process to the KNN algorithm. Let me execute this code in front of you, then everything will be clear to all. Now, this is clear to right now. So 5 different logistic regression models are prepared. Now it is clear to right now. Tell me yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, same thing I'm applying for the dysentery. So please keep in mind before speaking, before moving to the next part, logistic 1, logistic 2, logistic 2, logistic 3, logistic 4, logistic 5 are the name only. You want to give it shortened name, you can give LR1, LR2, LR2. So this is only the, we can say it is a naming. It is the naming of the my defined object into the list. A list can have the two parts. One is the its identity, and that is value, and that is the name. So I can use the value, that is the model one, for integrate or for append the information into the list. What is its name? So we are giving its name logistic 1, logistic 2, logistic 3, logistic 4, logistic 5. If you want to give the shorter name, then you can give it's a LR1, LR2, LR3. So it's your choice only. So these 5 different objects are appended into our estimator because the estimator was previously blank. So now it is appended over here. Now defining 5 different tree classifier. So CART is a classification regression technique as we know. So descent tree is the best example of the CART as we have seen. CART stands for the classification regression technique because it supports the both approaches as we have seen. So I'm giving its name card1, card2, card3. If you want to write the DT1, DT2, DT3, if you want to write, then you can write. So in the dysentery classifier, what I'm doing, model 1 should be model 16 or model 17, model 18, model 19, model 20 are the objects name of the dysentery classifier. And one more thing, here model 16, model 17 are different from each other. How? Yes, of course, it's different because maximum depth for I'm defining the model for the model 16 object. For model for 17 is the object of the dysentery classifier which contain the depth of the our tree, that is 3. So respectively, I'm changing its different parameters 4, 3, 6, 7, 2. So in the logic regression, if you want to update something, you can update. But we didn't update. We didn't update anything. We didn't pass any parameter. We have used only the same thing, whatever we want to use. So dysentery classifier, here we have the estimate. In the estimator we are appending all the things. So model 16, model 17, model 18, model 19, model 20 are appending into the our estimator. And let me show what will it will contain. So here what I'm printing, here I'm printing the estimator values. So after the logic regression, the dysentery classifier objects are also appended. Now it is clear to all right now. It is visible and it is clear to all.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So same thing we will happen. We will do with the support vector classifier and kernel. So what are the parameter, basic parameters so far we have learned. So based on some parameter we can do. So in the SVC we didn't use any parameter in the previous example, but here I am changing the kernel. What is the kernel? Kernel is a function which is used to transform one dimension data set into another dimension data set to normalize your problem. So to model 21 to 25 are the name of the object which is representing via the support vector classifier object, and here I'm passing the different parameter. I'm passing the kernel name that is linear. I'm passing the kernel name is a polynomial. I'm passing the kernel name is the RVF. RVF stands for the radial basis function. This is the name of the kernel. Please keep in mind. Okay, RVF stands for the radial basis function. And I'm passing again the RVF and I'm passing the linear. So whatever you want to pass, you can pass. So these are the 5 different support classifier I'm prepared. So model 21 to 25 are the name of the object, and then I'm at the last I'm printing the value of the estimator over here to check. Is really appended? Yes, now it is appended. After logic regression and dysentery classifier, and now support vector machines are also appended. And now I'm giving its name SVM1, SVM2, SVM3, SVM4, SVM5. Only naming only. Same thing I will update. So what is the simple parameter by which I can update? I can update the neighbor size. So neighbor size only 3, 5, 6, 4, 2, 7, and model 26 to model 30th are the our name of the object of the Kinect classifier. So I'm just updating this thing only and nothing else. And let me execute this code. So over the screen you can see these are the 20 big learners are generated over here. Yes, tell me right now. It is clear to all right now?
Yes, sir.
So these are the our 20 big learners. It means we have prepared the 20 models. So here we have to use the Python code, Python library, that is the Ensemble library. In the Ensemble library, we have a voting classifier class, and that is used to maximum voting. So at the last, we need to ensemble or integrate our models by using the estimators, because estimator is the name of the variable which contain all the details of all the models. 20 models are stored into the one group. So that is the name of the estimator we have taken, and fit the new model with the estimator variable. So defining the ensemble model. So here we are using the Bootic classifier because it's a basic ensemble learning model, and other bagging and boosting we are not using, because if you are using the boosting, then we need the different same type of the our models. If you're talking about the random forest or bagging we can use or we can implement, but at that time logically you have to think all the model should be dysentery. If you are not using the dysentery, then what happened? Is there any meaning? No, there is no sense. You can get the output. Suppose you are not getting any error, or you are getting something output, but that is not a actual output. That is only the rough data we are getting. But what happened really, if you really want to implement the random forest, then what is the definition of random forest? Random forest definition saying towards the collection of the distant trees or collection of trees. So at a boost and random forest, I will implement separately. But here I am just showing my proof why I'm not implementing the random forest at a boost due to this reason only. So that's why I'm implementing the voting classifier over here through the ensemble. So in the ensemble libraries, we have the voting classifier. So I'm giving its name, that is the ensemble. My ensemble is the name of the object. So we need to pass an estimator variables that must contain all the models or as our desire. So what is the name of our estimator variable which contain all the models? Estimators, which contain the 20 big models. Okay. So here I'm fitting my models toward the training data. So if you want to fit your model to not towards the training data, if you want to fit your model to actual data, then you can use. So extend and bytrain we have already generated, but if you want, this is time where you can build your model towards the actual or entire data set or by the training data set. It's your choice. But as a for property of the machine learning models, we have to use only the training data. So like the other models, we need to fit our ensemble model with some training data set. To extend and bytrain I'm passing over here only. So my ensemble is the name of the object. I'm fitting my model here. Now, by prediction is the name of the variable. This by prediction will generate my predicted part. So my ensemble model, and then I'm passing the predict method. So inside the predict method, I need to pass the testing data set. So we need to predict the ensemble model like the others with some testing data set. So I'm passing the X test is the name of our testing data. So my by prediction I can get it. So by testing, or is the actual testing? Actual, I can write over here. This is the actual testing data for ensemble model. Same thing, this will be the predicted. So I can copy this information over here. This will be the predicted. So this will be the predicted data. So let me execute this code. Yes. So actual testing data through the ensemble, I have the 110001, but by the predicting data, I'm getting the every time 0. So only the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 value out of the 9, out of the uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So out of the 8 values are matching only the 5 values. So this is the point right now. So we need to check its accuracy of the ensemble modeling. What is the accuracy we are getting? So before moving to the accuracy, can you tell me right now any doubt so far over here? And how we are ensembling? Ensembling means by the choosing the estimator variable, we are integrating all the variable and we are passing the only the estimator variable. So voting classifier, in the voting classifier is the name of the class in which I am passing only the one variable, that is estimator, which contain the all the models. Now clear? Or anyone who need to ask any questions, so please you can ask.
Clear, sir.
Excellent. So here I'm executing once again, but if you really want to pass the entire data set, then you can pass. Suppose for sake of the understanding only, some student telling me, sir, can we pass the entire data set? You can pass, but it is really matter of fact of the our logically, no. See, this is the entire data set, the 29 values I have, so I have passed over here. But practically or logically, it should not be. So we must pass the only training data. Now, this is a confusion metric for the ensemble model. So I have to pass the byte test and byte prediction. So towards that part, I can see. So let me show. You can observe over here, this is a confusion matrix which is similar to the logic regression. Let me show the my proof. Look at this confusion matrix. Confusion matrix of the logic regression, I got the 5030. 5030. Okay. Same confusion matrix I'm getting over here. So you can note that the confusion matrix of this ensemble models is same as the logistic regression model, because 5 learners of the logistic regression are giving the maximum voting for the accuracy purpose only. So here let us check its accuracy. This accuracy in terms of the internal is giving the point. So in the our logic regression, we didn't pass any parameters, so we are getting the same accuracy. So let us check. We're getting the accuracy of the ensemble model, that is the 62.5%, and same we are getting the same accuracy of the our logic regression. You can see 62.5 accuracy of the logic regression, 62.5, and this is our accuracy of the our model of the logistic. Now same we are getting at the bottom side. Now it is clear to all right now?
Yes, sir.